Alright, there's a new song, there's a new tune. Okay. DM7 DM. I don't
know what to say.
I don't know what to say either. I'm sorry, everybody.
But you need to cool it.
This is what I do usually when we're not streaming.
You just sit around singing about DM7.
Yeah, dream at night. DM7 dreams.
Exciting stuff.
Running through those doorways, machine gun out.
See, that could be more. You could be expanding on the lyrics here. You describe, but sing some of what happens on the map.
I could try that. A beautiful choir boy voice.
Angelic.
Do you think I should go on Britain's Got Talent?
No, I think you should go on
The Voice? X Factor? Which one? Which show should I go on?
Which has got more prestige?
The Voice at the moment's the big one, apparently. It's also
Is that a new thing?
on the BBC, so you can't go wrong there, can you?
I suppose.
Better stop the music anyways. They're all, well, actually, King.
I've just realised I'm not on the server. I thought
You better get
was.
on here quick and have a butchers at this map. Never seen such a good map. I'm going to play a quick ad though, while I just compose myself.
While you compost yourself.
Just composure, chill. NVC has beat you to it, this. Some guy on The Voice looks like Ziggy.
Eh?
I'm gonna have to watch that.
In 2 seconds. Excellent.
Do we have a set cast that we can look up right now? Or does it change every week?
I don't know. I think it's like X Factor, where they go through rounds or whatever. Anyway, yeah. So just let me go and do this still screen so I can cut. It can be cut easier. There we go. And welcome to Level Up TV at levelupyourgame.net, Twitter at Level Up TV, Facebook like us /Level Up TV, YouTube subscribe /Level Up TV, and follow us on our Twitch channel, Twitch TV.
Which TV?
/Level Up TV. And disrepute with Vor. And getting excited here because it's the return of a great map. Two potentially great maps.
Wow.
We've got Retribution and Campgrounds tonight, and this is...
Campgrounds is still the most popular Quake Live TDM map,
Definitely
even though it hasn't
is.
been in the map pools for however long, probably 2 years.
Most popular Quake 3 map as well.
Well, there you go. Why was it ever taken out? I mean, I don't even like the map, but I acknowledge its popularity and have to wonder.
And this is going to be the Quake Live Champions League, so, you know, the best teams in Europe fighting out to see who is the #1. Set maps each week. Sitto versus Lemmings Effect. Let's look at the lineups. Dimitri, Flash, Q50 and Zyrink Sitto. Line up there. And then we got Lemmings Effect. Dimitri J. Chubbs, Spawns and Kinku. Vor, Retribution.
What?
What are we going to see here? What are we got to expect?
I don't know, because we haven't seen this map played in an official game since they reverted to the original Q3 layout. Of course, when we last saw this map played in Quake Live, the shotgun was in place of the railgun, which is now back in its rightful position at the red armor. But we'll have to see how that plays out. I mean, if we were watching a Quake 3 game from the early days, we might have seen a very slow sort of game where a team does hold red armor, but the other team looks to just sit on the other side of the map, rarely look to poke in and do some damage. Although, in contrast, if we saw a game from the end of Quake 3, then we'd see non-stop set action with the machine gun at this red armor all game. So, I don't know what type of gameplay we're going to see, really.
Yeah, famously though, of course, right at the end of Quake 3, Sweden won a Nations Cup by playing that old school defensive style, so it is still possible.
Against France, and it frustrated them. They were whining mid-game about it, but it got Sweden the victory on that map, and in the end, they won that tournament, so multiple ways to play it.
It does require very controlled gameplay. These two teams, Sitto versus Ellie, who's got perhaps the advantage?
I don't really know, because far as I know, it's only Q50 who'd had experience of this in Quake 3 and Flash a bit as well.
I mean, I imagine a lot of these players probably have played a bit of Quake 3.
Well, they probably have, yeah. I just don't know anything about them in Quake 3.
I mean, Q50's definitely played at the highest level on this map, so maybe that'll give them some level of advantage. But I know Ellie have been practicing this map at least, because we played against them on it in a prac.
Oh, did we?
Yes. Of course we won, because we're amazing at this map, and the only reason we're in this league is to play this map, right?
Better hope we win it.
Probably won't.
We won't even have a team at this rate for it.
Yeah, poor old Disrepute. With his lag. And Betija as well. Anyway, yeah, gonna ready up then for... So, expect, I'm gonna guess lots of aggression over this red. And we'll have to see what happens in terms of the quad play.
We'll see.
Prediction then for last second. Here we go, Champions League match.
I think this map will be really close, but... I don't know, Sitto to edge it. But I don't know, I mean, it could just be... I don't even know how to explain what to expect.
What was
really.
great about this map is a team could go 40 frags up. In fact, I've got a video of that happening with us. We were like, what, 40 frags down? Just turn it around within 2 minutes.
Yep.
If you just get the right items at the right time, you can swing around in no time at all, because both teams are just so aggressive on that red area traditionally. It's a great map. I love this map. And people say, you know, maybe it's a bit just mindless cess, but I think it's a little bit different. So
There's still a lot of important individual play that has to take place, you know, with people running the mega, you know, that cycle between the red, the mega.
Here we go, gonna go live, and Kinku getting the yellow armor spawn, machine gun in, and Sitto Dimitri. Good machine gun as well, actually.
It is. Shame it's
Very
not 5
good.
damage here, he'd have been dead about an hour ago.
Yeah, and he's desperate to get that ammo. Here we go then, so moving into this room, looks like Ellie have got a good amount of players in here as well, and they're going to come out on top. Good MG though by Kinku, really is, and it's a very MG heavy map. Red armor, second red on the map, picked up by Kinku, 10 seconds to go before this first quad, and that is at the other end of the map. Wow, what was that warp? 3 seconds to go until the quad. Is anybody going to get that? Mega just picked up. There we go, Chubbs with the quad pickup, and you will find this obviously on most maps. The first quad pickup isn't going to be a strong player, but Ellie definitely starting out the stronger, but I mean this kind of scoreline means nothing. It's going to get the red as well. Excellent. Oh dear.
Yes, that's intended, that was intended.
Yeah.
Just to lower his health a bit so that pick some more up from somewhere.
Tempt them into trying to attack him. 50 is up. And looks like Sitto just trying to evade that quad then. We'll have to see if they now try and push on a big attack. Well, it looks like they are, and Q50 coming in with that rocket launcher. What?
Wow,
a great
big
rocket.
rockets.
Excellent.
And he's rewarded
Just won
himself
the room in 2 rockets.
with that red. This is definitely a map as well. You can effectively double stack reds on one player all the time if they've got the right weaponry, and they can just hold out a room for minutes at a time. But that's why it's so important to focus your weapons at the same time. Picking up 2 rails there, Sitto, and this could be a big moment. Q50's still going to survive out, needs that 50. Hits his rail shots. It's not quite as effective as it used to be, of course, rail doing 80 damage compared to 100 in Quake 3. Normally in Quake 3 you'd hit 1 rail and just leave it for teammates to 5 MG people down. Now there's a bit more of a gap in terms of health remaining, usually about 20 odd, and of course machine guns doing less damage. But I guess the tactics would still be just hit 1 rail and then maybe focus on someone else. Ellie not rushing in here, Paul.
No, they realise that Sitto have multiple rail guns. They've got, I don't know if they've got multiple armour, but you know, they just picked up another red. And I guess they're going to look to set quad up this rather than throw away more kills.
They are at the mega position. 2 LE players taking out Zyring's excellent play. I mean, he did a fair bit of damage there, but LE are going to come out with the mega pickup. 10 seconds to go before red, but quad will be at the same time, following Chubbs moving round in what would be behind if they were in the entrance. Good movement here. It's actually really nice play from LE, though Zyring does steal that quad away from that. It could be quite a big move, especially as Flash has a rail defending this red room, hits the 2nd rail in a row there.
Yeah, that steal of quad was huge because, you know, now we're back to the CES game, but oh, wow, that was a big rocket. It's just, you know, Sitto, they have the weapons to potentially keep the red defended, although, look, it is LE.
That's
taking that position.
Another thing of this map more than any, you can't afford to be dropping weapons to your opponents.
Yeah, I mean, any time you drop the railgun, in red, if your opponent then takes the room over, you've just given them an extra railgun potentially. If they also get one off the pickup point, maybe give them 2 railguns to defend the room with. And with how easy it is to hit rails nowadays in the Quake Live netcode, it's devastating to drop rail.
City are just behind by 6 frags. They do have position on this rim, but they don't really have anything to work with physically. It's all just MG. Dimitri picking up the red. Didn't take too much MG damage either. Now he has a railgun. Going up that bounce. We've got to be careful with this rocketer. Chubbs really wants to hit him there. Defend that railgun. Does hit Dimitri J.
Dimitrij.
Yeah, Dimitrij. Okay. That's what
Excellent.
the score is
Well, what
just
do you want to
closing
call
in.
him then?
Dimitri.
Dimmy J?
Dimmy J, yeah, that sounds pretty banging. A couple of frags of difference now. Zyrink's going to sit on top of this red armour. Is this the kind of map he might have less impact on for?
Well, he's obviously got very strong railguns, so if he can get red armors and railguns, it's going to be very hard for Ellie to move in against him.
Trying to push on that mega position. He can't get through that doorway, it's too tight. Trying to now railing to the quad area. Misses his first rail shot. Oh my god, he's going to get caught out by Dimitri.
They did take the quad over.
Switch round 2Q50. He's got 100 stack. Railgun in hand. He's been pushed off the quad. In fact, he's blocked by his teammate first. So Chubb's coming out on top with that railgun. Ellie's still just ahead. Picking up the 25 in the corridor and extra rail ammo. Oh, that was nice of you, Spawns, to give Chubbs an extra count on his score frag. Kill count, sorry. As the quad is eliminated. Back to that aggressive game inside this red room. It is tight, like you predicted for. So what is it that one team can do just to eke out more of a difference? What are the small tactics you can play out?
Well, at the moment, the Megas are equal pretty much pick up. It's 4 for Sitto, 5 for LE, but Sitto have double the reds, and to me, you need to be using that red a bit more effectively, and each time you get the red, make sure you then get the next Mega. I know you need to often use red to defend the red
Dimitri,
room. That was impressive.
Oh my god, switch round to him.
But yeah, make sure you secure that next Mega pickup with the red whenever possible, and you should be able to dominate both of those items if you play it correctly.
So 5 frags is the difference.
But especially when they are mainly playing a CES game, if it was a more defensive game, it could be harder to get in. But when you've got the red, you should be able to use it. Either go through a teleporter to Mega or just straight up the stairs.
Because Spawns there taking out Q50, just shocked Q50. You can see him trembling after that attack. Spawn's just diving on top of him with the armor, but it looks like they're sat back now for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, they've done this pretty much each time. When it's on they're getting closer to quad, they have started to sit back more, and they just need to make sure they actually get a good quad run out of it if they are going to do that, because obviously if you sit back, you are at least giving away 1 or maybe even 2 red armors and railguns for absolutely no damage dealt out.
If they wait for this last red, they're going to miss out on quad. They're not. It seems like they're going to try and push through this doorway. Flash and Zyrinx with his 5th impressive there. Looks like they're going to... Whoa, no, they don't get the quad, but they get the frag on the quad, Sitto. And now it's the rush back to control the red room, which has been spawned in.
The problem for LE is Sitto have a lot of railguns left, but that machine gun damage on Zyrinx is huge.
They're not watching him. He picks up the 50 and he's survived it out. Good dodging there, 6th impressive. 55% rail. He is railed eventually by Chubbs. Good rail positions taken up by Chubbs.
Now that they've killed Zyrinx, that gives Eddie a real... Well,
oh, they're going to steal the red.
Yeah, I was going to say they've just given themselves an advantage at red, but that kill and that red pickup completely turns things around.
There's Flash getting the frag there. He's only got 27 health, looking for the 50s. There's like 3 50s in this area that can spawn up. There's one of them. So now he's looking a little bit stronger. And Sitto, again, just being left to control the red and LG. Maybe a bit early this time, Vor. If they're getting the Megas, though, it won't matter as much. Looks like, switch around to Chubbs. It looks like they're going to mount an attack. Are they waiting for somebody to come through the teleporter at Mega? No, they're going to try and get Mega themselves. Well, Q50 is going to be obliterated by the shotgun player there. Chubb's not really getting an angle to shoot anybody there, and he's paid the price. Dimitri on Dimitri. Sitto still in control of this red rail. I think it's going to pay off for them, or it's going to cost LE very soon in terms of the power-up play. I mean, 3 frag difference. They're surely going to outstack them in armor.
But even though LE set up power-up, quite early as 30 seconds, they did it on the previous one. They haven't come away really with a good power-up run from doing that.
Zyrinx has that extra red now. 8 seconds to go before quad. Is going to have to be quick to make it round. Goes the lower route. That's a wise choice. Just gets blocked slightly by his teammate, but still in there. Perfect timing. And look at this by Zyrinx. Excellent play. 2 frags now on the board with that quad. He puts Sitto just ahead. I just felt that it felt a bit inevitable, didn't it? 5 frags now, 6 excellence for Zyrinx. Mega health was timed to perfection. Moves in to the red area just at the end there. Decides not to use his rail, interestingly, on those shots. But he did get them and should secure out this red, in fact. It's really cost LE sitting back on those power-ups. It was just inevitable.
Yeah, they had been close to giving away power-up on a few of the previous ones, and it did look like that as soon as Sitto managed to pick one up, they would do a lot more with it. And they have so many railguns at the moment. This is what happens when you stop putting pressure on the red.
Excellent.
You have to be so efficient on the Mega and the yellow, and then you have to win that power up. You have to.
Yeah, exactly. If you sit back and then don't do anything with quad, you put yourself in a really difficult position, because in theory you would sit back but then use the quad to re-establish control of the red. Because they haven't done that, they're now being punished.
Obviously the gap still isn't a massive gap, just around 10 frag difference. And Ellie rushing in.
Exactly, Ellie have actually just taken control again.
Well, that's what kind of surprised me.
Well, not control, but they look stronger.
In the general attacking game on the red, the CES game, it seemed to me like Ellie were coming out on top. So I was just a bit surprised when they stopped it. 10 seconds to go to a quad. Looks like Q50 might be in a good position for this, in fact. Just got the spawn, kind of got lucky in that area. Seems like a teammate is typing. That's Zyrinx complaining about damage there, I think. Spammed onto this quad. Q50 gonna go down. So this could be a great opportunity to Ellie to get a nice dominant bit of control inside that red room, pick up some frags and bring back the difference. Although it looks like all a Sitto spawned in there.
Yeah, there are 2 spawns in that red room, so there is a risk when you pick up kills at the quad that is where they might respawn.
Dimitri coming in just behind, didn't manage to get that rail because it only had 1 shot left. Red armor is up on the spot. See them MG battles by everybody. Dimitri in 63% rail, cycle round full of Q50 dropping off for that 25-50%
Q50 hitting
rail.
50 rail, yeah, so that's nice.
Going for the Mega, of course. That was a nice rail through the teleport, taking out Kinku. And they do just retain, what, a 7 frag advantage at the moment. Oh my god, gets pummeled going around the corner. Wasn't quite aware of that one, obviously. So maybe it was zoomed or something. Look how many weapons are being dropped here, boy.
Excellent.
I guess that's just
Many.
one of the things you get with Quake Live. People are not seemingly as bothered by dropping weapons. It's a 5 frag margin. Very close game between these two teams. Nice rail by Dimitri. It's a second there for his 3rd impressive on the map, but Chubbs comes out with the MG kill. Q50, nice plasma, but he's going to go down as well. Red up in about 10 seconds. Mega in a couple. Depending on who gets Mega, they're going to be perfect for quad if they go there right away. Zyrinx going to get that last red, but will he make it to quad in time? Cycle around, Q50 spawn right in there. Is he going to grab it? No, but the quad's killed straight away. We haven't really seen any really strong setups of the quad at the moment before.
No, I mean, we've seen Ellie have tried to set quad up a few times, but it's never been strong enough to give them a clean pickup. Only once have they picked up a quad that then made it into the red room, but then he was dealt with quite quickly. But kind of can happen on this map, especially after they'd sat back to set their quad up, you know, which gives Sitto some extra rail guns. Quad can then struggle to actually do anything when it comes to red.
That's really good play by Spawns there. He just got the previous red. He denied the railgun by taking out Q50. Didn't drop his own railgun either. Really nice play by Spawns. Alex did get the frag in the end, but didn't really gain too much out of it. Don't know who got the next rail pick. I'm going to cycle around a bit and see who's in this room. Oh, switch around to Flash, who gets to spawn inside the room, which I'm sure Ellie with no weapons were not happy about. Red up in 5 seconds. Dimitri on top of it with a shotgun. Looks like Sitto going to grab that armor item.
Excellent.
Switch around a little bit as we're leading up 40 seconds to a quad. Anybody in particular standing out for you, Vor, at the moment?
Well, Zyrex is playing quite nicely. He's got good damage output, 700 more than his closest teammate. The only thing I find weird so far about this game is, and I mentioned it earlier, is Sitto almost dominating the red armor pickup. Like 10 more, but as I said, they're not actually getting many megas.
I'm not getting an advantage out of it. Perhaps that just shows a lack of experience on this map. I mean, it hasn't been played for a long time, and when it was last in Quake Live, it was a completely different layout. Here we go. This could be a very good opportunity for Ellie. They got a nice quad pickup there. Look at that red. So tempting. Got to be careful with the spawner, but no spawn up. Oh,
nice plasma.
Nice. Can get us another frag here. Misses the rail shot. More bothered about the mega.
Well, that's what you should see though more often is, you know, he took the red and he went for the next mega. I know he has quad.
I think
Maybe
he should
look
let a
for
teammate
kills,
take the mega. Zyrex does get caught out with that railgun there into the hands of Spawns, who's an excellent railer himself.
Yeah, look how many rails have been dropped. I mean, at least that one's into the lava, but
Oh!
it's one thing you'd say is both teams are dropping a lot of railguns and
Good counter by Chubbs. And Ellie have taken that 8 frag advantage now. So they've turned it around. Roughly a 20 frag turnaround. It's swinging this way and that way, and look, Ellie, they seem to be sitting out again, Vor. And this is what cost them last time.
They do have a railgun though in their possession at least, so even though they're sat out, they have opportunities to find angles to shoot into the red room.
And I think actually when you're playing a team who is obviously expecting you to play a very fast game style.
But you can see where Chubbs is, at least following Chubbs, he stood right in front of that teleporter exit where he would be visible, people can see him holding a rail.
Yeah, he should have had the pummel out maybe. Just
leaves you susceptible to an ambush.
Because by the time someone comes through the doorway you can switch to a rail to take him out, then you don't need to have the rail out. Just pummel on the tele exit. I'm going to cycle away from him 15 seconds before the quad. Zyrex going to pick up this final red, in fact, hitting 51% rail at the moment. He is spotted. There's somebody to the left, isn't there? Yeah, there is. All they need to do is just stop him getting through, and oh my god, they get the frag. What happened to the quad? Well, there it is, Spawns. So he did an excellent setup this time. Well. This could be a great quad run coming up. Look at this, control of red. Heavy shotgun from Zyrex.
I can't believe the initial shotgun from Spawns wasn't enough to kill him.
He must have been off the spawn. Zyrex. Of course, there's a few shards there. Maybe he got.
Just looked like from that range, everything should have hit from spawn.
There you go. Going to get that yellow armor. That's, again, that's a good position to. If you've got a very solid lock of the red armor, like Sitto had earlier, really, you can push the mega. But if you're not going to do that, you could push someone to the yellow and cycle on a couple of them before the power ups. It really depends the kind of lock you got on the red. Don't think Ellie are going to be in that position on this map.
Another drop rail. Yeah, dropped by Chubbs. And you can already see, drop that rail, he's hit 3 shots already with it.
4/10th impressive for Q50.
This is why you don't drop rails.
Impressive.
Really nice rail play from Q50. I mean, it's really costing them that drop rail. Oh my god. I hope he doesn't know that we were streaming him there. He'll be messaging me afterwards apologising for embarrassing the UK there. Dimitri getting that shotgun. He's got a railgun as well, palms it off to a teammate who presumably had armour. Let's cycle around and have a look at Q50 with that railgun.
Ellie might find themselves pushed out of this quad, and it is the final quad. They need to be cautious not to give it up too cheaply.
Still anyone's game, and Zyrinx looks like the man to pick this one up. He's got 80 armour on the board, the 225s are in front of him, so he'll be full health.
Has a rail as well, so anyone stacked into red armour.
Oh, that is excellent play. Excellent play, taking over the red armour in split second there. So now he can move around the rest of the map and hunt for the kills. Going to get the yellow on top of that.
Didn't take the plasma ammo. I know he's got rail, but
yeah, he hasn't really used rail too much in his squadrons, has he?
Gonna have to use it in a second.
Doesn't pick up the 50 either. But this time he is going back for that ammo.
And Ellie are just sitting all together in the mega room, which is the ideal thing to do. They just stay grouped,
Just
and
cycle
even
around
if a
Dimitri.
few of them die, they should.
Oh my god! Chubb's getting an amazing pummel attack on Dimitri. Had 170 stack. He's now down to 27 health. 3 frags is the margin. Last 15 seconds of the game. This is ridiculously close.
Spawns, Chubb,
oh my
Cole
god!
together.
What's Dimitri doing? Just went so ridiculously aggressive. Look at it, it's a 1 frag difference.
Wow.
Ellie,
Very close
take
at
it.
the end. I mean, Ellie, it looked like almost they might have just given up that lead at the end.
9.2k damage to Kinku. 3 quads.
And we saw at the start, especially how strong his machine gun was. So, hitting good machine gun on this, you can be effective even without a weapon. You'll often find yourself with no weapon on this map.